Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. An extra episode of the podcast because a suspected terror attack at Berlin Pride's left one person dead and 16 others injured. It's after a van was driven into the crowd at Tiergarten Park near the Brandenburg Gate. A number of people are also thought to have been stabbed. Kai Wagner's the city's mayor.
We will not allow our way of life and our way of living together to be taken from us. We have to wait and see what the investigation will reveal now.
Thanks to the BBC. Police are trying to find Abdul B, who they've named as a suspect, and say others may have been involved. The 21-year-old's described as a member of the German capital's Islamist scene. The rest of Berlin Pride has been cancelled. LGBTQ plus blogger Julian Meitig was close to where it all happened.
It's a dark day for our community. We have to see how we'll get through this. But I think the Berlin Pride will never be the same as it was before this attack.
Thanks to DW News. Among the 16 people hurt, 3 have life-threatening injuries and 8 are seriously hurt. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz calling this a horrific act that'll be fully investigated and punished.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, Gibraltar bans conversion therapy. First though, the suspect in the Berlin Pride terror attack has been shot dead by police. Abdul Balut was located in Spandau in the west of the city nearly 24 hours after a van was rammed into the crowd at Tiergarten Park. There were also a number of stabbings. What's being labelled an Islamist terror attack has left one woman dead and 29 other people injured. Alfonso Pantisano's the queer commissioner for the Berlin Senate.
When these events, these attacks occur, we all feel a sense of mourning within the whole community because we know that we are under attack. We know that people do not accept our way of living. They do not accept the way we decide to be happy.
Thanks to BBC News. 21-year-old Balut was German with Lebanese roots. Police say he'd been radicalised and was part of the Islamist scene in the German capital.
Pride Daily.
Next, a state in Nigeria's so against same-sex marriage, lawmakers are pushing for a ban, even though it's already banned. Proposals in Cross River in the southeast are being advanced by the House of Assembly to protect moral and religious values. They'd reinforce the countrywide ban in place since 2014 that sees up to 14 years in prison for these unions.
Pride Daily.
And a ban on conversion therapy is now law in Gibraltar. Means attempts to change someone's sexuality or gender identity in the British Overseas Territory on Spain's south coast now carry the threat of prison or hefty fines. Plus, hate crime legislation's been toughened up to better protect transgender people.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, the biggest trans pride ever. First though, bigoted, knuckle-dragging, boneheaded, bedwetting, demented, probably right-wing, probably racist, probably misogynist Australian football fans have been repeatedly booing and jeering a player for having the temerity to be the victim of a homophobic insult. Collingwood defender Isaac Quaynor was called the slur that rhymes with maggot during a game last year, leading to Adelaide's Isaac Rankin being suspended. The two sides have been facing each other again in the Australian Football League, and Adelaide supporters felt the need to show how utterly pathetic they are. Collingwood coach Craig McRae.
He was a victim of a homophobic slur, and he's getting booed for that. It's a fascinating world we live in.
Thanks to the ABC. And former AFL player Mitch Brown, who came out as bisexual last year, tells them he's since received a message from a queer Adelaide fan.
How do I keep my passion and love for our game when I don't feel accepted? I just feel so sad and unheard. I love this club and game so much. It's such a meaningful and connecting thing for me. After tonight, I feel so numb.
The AFL says the booing and jeering was unacceptable, while Adelaide reckons its fans have crossed the line. Collingwood scored a 34-point win and, of course, a moral victory.
Pride Daily.
Next, claims a third of out queer service members in Ukraine's army have experienced discrimination. Research from an equal rights organisation finds the main issues are homophobia, bullying, not being promoted, and unwanted transfers to other units. The study recommends better training for Army personnel and a formal way of reporting these issues anonymously.
Pride Daily.
And London Trans Plus Pride has drawn about 150,000 people to the city, 50,000 up on last year. Speeches saw criticism of new anti-transgender guidance on UK single-sex spaces, like public bathrooms and changing rooms, plus restrictions on gender-affirming care. Organisers reckon this was the biggest trans pride event there's ever been.
Queer Family Podcast.
If you've ever felt like your family didn't fit the traditional mold, this show is for you. I'm Jamie, host of the Queer Family Podcast. And every week we highlight LGBTQIA+ families and the beautiful, unique ways we build and show up for our families in a world that wasn't designed for us. We celebrate, highlight, uplift, and normalize queer families because our stories deserve center stage. New episodes every Monday. Listen wherever you get your pods.
Love is love on the Queer Family Podcast. Love is love.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, there's nowhere gayer than Oradea. First though, a hatemonger convicted of harassing 2 transgender women in Australia has lost her appeal. Yay! Kirralie Smith and her Binary Australia group relentlessly went after the pair just because they play football with the local teams. The defeat means Smith has to cough up $95,000 and make a court-approved public apology that's got to stay online for 3 months. As is the way with the radical right, she remains defiant though.
If you know anything about me...
Yes, you're a bigot. Sorry, carry on.
If you know anything about me, you know I'm not going to be gaslit, I'm not going to be intimidated, I'm not going to be threatened. There's nothing that, no amount of money, no judgments, nothing that will turn any man into a woman. I will stand my ground and I will fight for freedom of speech, for truth speech.
Now, of course, she's got freedom of speech, but used it to incite hatred and serious contempt, breaking New South Wales vilification laws. And a fun fact, Binary Australia morphed out of the Marriage Alliance, which campaigned against same-sex marriage. That tracks.
Pride Daily.
Next, with the UK's biggest Pride event just days away, police want to reassure people about safety. It's after Saturday's terror attack at Pride in Berlin, which left 1 woman dead and 29 other people injured. As in previous years, there'll be armed officers in Brighton, where 500,000 people are expected, police saying it's standard for major events of this kind.
Pride Daily.
And despite a ban, more than 700 people have marched at Oradea Pride in Romania. 4th year running, authorities have tried to stop it. They come up with nonsense logistical reasons, but it's just bigotry from culture war clowns. Some people were fined for ignoring the ban. They knew that might happen and showed up anyway.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, a coffee shop's transgression. First though, 2 teenagers accused of planning to kill LGBTQ+ students in Singapore have been arrested. Security officials say while the cases aren't linked, the males, aged 14 and 19, are both self-radicalised and support the Islamic State terror group. It's claimed they were going to use knives to target queer classmates they saw as un-Islamic because they're LGBTQ+. Kay Shanmugam's the Minister for Security and says the 14-year-old's planning was quite advanced.
He wanted to conduct mass casualty stabbing attack at his secondary school. He wrote out a 21-page manifesto. It set out attack plans, choice of weapons. He was going to live stream his attack, pledge allegiance to ISIS, and then take his own life.
The boy is said to have become obsessed with Omar Mateen, who shot dead 49 people at the Pulse LGBTQ+ nightclub in Florida 10 years ago. It's believed last weekend's terror attack at Berlin Pride also involved an Islamic State supporter.
Pride Daily.
Next, an evangelical Christian who refused to do a job and issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples in America is being sued again. Kim Davis owes more than $565,000 to David Airmold and David Moore for violating their constitutional rights 11 years ago in Kentucky. Despite a judgment against her back in 2023, the bigot's yet to stump up the cash. She's now accused of trying to conceal some property she's inherited to avoid paying.
Pride Daily.
And someone at Canadian coffee shop chain Tim Hortons thought it would be a good idea to make Harry Potter's wicked grandma even richer. A promotion in its outlets will add to the wealth of the story's author, who funds people and organisations reflecting her gender-critical views. Queer advocacy group eGal Canada says campaigns that celebrate Harry Potter can be deeply disappointing and saddening. Plus, you've got this comment on socials. And, like magic, you're going to lose me as a customer.
Pride Daily.
Hi there, I'm Kev McGrath. Coming up, why trans people in Pakistan are protesting. First though, a rally in support of a US women's basketball player who's decided to gob off about transgender athletes has attracted hardly anyone. Sophie Cunningham from Indiana Fever has taken a seat in the culture war clown car, saying trans females should be banned from female sports. After lots of criticism, there's been what's generously described as a sparse gathering outside Seattle's Climate Pledge Arena ahead of a game that saw her booed. The venue's home to opponent Seattle Storm. Their head coach is Sonia Rahman.
We always want to be an area where people feel welcome coming into this building. I think we've always done a really good job with that. So I know our organization was, working closely with Climate Pledge and with security to just make sure that, everybody feels safe and included and welcome when they walk in this door. And from what I understand, that was successful.
Thanks to Cairo News Radio. Indiana Fever reckon neither the team nor Cunningham knew the demo was happening. She wasn't made available for post-match interviews.
Pride Daily.
Next, transgender people in Pakistan have been protesting in Karachi against rocketing prices in the country. Inflation's way above target, about double, and this hits harder if you're trans there, because discrimination means less decent job opportunities, so lower incomes, plus those rejected by family can't look to them for support. There's also concerns the cost of living could affect the charity many transgender people rely on to survive.
Pride Daily.
And Argentina's gender identity law has been fully reinstated in a massive humiliation for the country's bigoted president. Javier Milei, who looks like Wolverine's been electrocuted, had outlawed hormone treatment for under 18s, but a court's just ruled this was unconstitutional. It's not the final word on this, could still be challenged, but for now, it means transgender kids can access the healthcare they need. There's more on our socials, at Pride Daily Pod, including any breaking news. That's your lot. I'll see you next week.